Some of you might like to know a little bit more about our drummer.
Now going back to 40 years of Chick Webb.
Get that.
Is drummer right? Is it okay to say drummer?
Pounding his pulsing beat into the hearts of all America.
You motherfuckers are fucking all over this joint.
You do your kind of drumming, and I'll do my kind of drumming.
I have no more time. You don't know what I love again.
The only things I care about in this goddamn life are me and my drums and you.
The official explanation was he choked on vomit.
You suppose maybe I could put the drums in your place and sort of drop in once in a while?
Now back to Gene Krupa's syncopated style shortly.
Get up there behind those drums, lean back, close your eyes, get right in the groove there, give it a good steady beat.
I got blisters on my fingers.
I get that.
I'm in Hollywood with Matt Chamberlain. Matt, thank you for being here.
Thanks. We're definitely in Hollywood.
It feels like a long time in the making somehow.
Yeah, we've been exchanging emails for months.
Months.
Things have been crazy though. So, sold my house in Seattle.
You're done?
Well, we're going back and forth right now. We've had a house in Seattle for 20 years, and we just sold it.
But so you're back and forth, you're saying?
Well, just trying to. Well, I'm back and forth with the people that are going to be buying it, haggling over.
Gotcha.
We want to fix this before we buy it, and that.
It's not quite finished yet. In other words, the sale. It's not.
In a couple weeks, hopefully.
Okay. But what I was trying to say is, are you done with Seattle at this point? I mean.
Well, as far as living there, yeah. I'll go back. I've got plenty of friends.
Right. And you get work there, right? Doesn't stuff come up?
Very rarely.
Okay.
I moved there in 91, and I've probably been employed as a musician there, hired as a person to play on a record maybe 4 or 5 times in like 20 years.
Okay. Okay.
Everything else has just been like, putting bands together.
Yeah.
And doing projects.
Right.
Self things.
Yeah.
Self-funded.
One of the things I was curious about was your time with SNL.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've talked about it before, and you've talked about you didn't really dig New York that much, and that played a part in getting out of it. If we could get into that a little, like what?
Yeah. Well, let me see, when I moved there, it was great because G.E. Smith, the guy who was the band director, he offered the gig to me, and so I just, I was living in Texas at the time, so I just hopped in my car and drove there.
How did that happen? How does he offer you the gig?
He just said, come to New York.
But how did he know you?
Oh, let's see. The summer before, in my band that I was in E. Brickell and the New Bohemians. We were on tour opening up for Bob Dylan for a summer, and G.E. was the guitar player.
Okay.
And we just ended up hanging out a lot and bullshitting and jamming, and he said, hey, if you ever feel like moving to New York, give me a holler. And it was actually the year after that tour. We had broken up, and I was like, well, shit, I should move to New York. I should call GE, see if he still,
Was he offering the SNL gig at that point, like the year prior?
It was kind of odd. He just said, yeah, whenever you want to come to New York, just give me a call, which...
He wasn't specific.
He was a very vague human at the time. So, anyways, I was just crazy enough to just hop in my car and just drive there with my drum kit. And I lived in his place, which was on Central Park West. This beautiful...
So you just drove right to GE's house?
I just drove to his house. I was like, hey, I'm here. And he's like, great, cool, well... it was probably a couple of weeks before the season started. And so I was just living with him. I was kind of broke.
Yeah.
So I had enough money for food. Then I ran into some friends at like a club, and I was telling them I needed to find a place to live, but I was broke at the time because the show hadn't started. And
was GE fronting you any cash, by the way?
I can't remember if he fronted. I think something happened. I got some work or something. I can't remember what happened.
But it was hard times.
Yeah, because when the band broke up, when Edie and the New Bohemians broke up, it was a disaster. I ended up owing them like $50,000 because we were just, we were 21 years old. We didn't know what the fuck was going on. We had all these managers that were ripping us off, and it was a really bad scene.
You owed that band $50,000?
Yeah, because she was floating the band on her publishing money for a tour, which we lost money on.
Okay.
So everybody collectively owed her, and somehow
did you get out of that?
I finally got a check from that band for like $1 a couple years ago. Yeah.
Nice. But that didn't turn into a lawsuit or anything like that. That $50,000.
No. I just paid it back through my meager publishing. Like whenever there was some publishing that came in on one of the records.
Wow.
So all that money just went.
Is that something you take personal with Edie? By the way, when shit like that happens?
Well, I don't want to talk about it, really, but you could imagine.
Got it, yeah.
Most people would react in a certain way. One lesson I learned in the music business early on.
Wow. That's brutal.
I know.
Okay, so there
So anyway, so I ran into some friends at a club.
Yeah.
That I can't remember where I knew them from, but I said, man, I need to find a place to live.
Yeah.
And they were living in Park Slope in Brooklyn. And they're like, oh, we have this loft and there's an extra room. So, and at the time, all I had was my drum kit and some clothes. And I think I had I didn't even have a futon. I didn't have anything. I was sleeping on the floor of their apartment in this room.
And that was before it was hit, by the way, Park Slope.
Yeah.
That's right? No, seriously, what year? That's that
was 91.
That was not...
No, it was kind of sketchy.
It was not what it is today, yeah.
So I got, I hung out with them until the show started, and then when I got my first check, I was like, oh my God, I can now eat and consider looking for an apartment.
It was a nice check.
It was, well, no, not really, but it was, it's another lesson I learned. Don't trust people with that kind of shit either. I assume, you can't really assume people are going to watch out for your best interest in all matters.
Who are you supposed to be trusting in that issue?
That was a good question. I didn't know. I was just like some 21-year-old hippie dude from Texas, that wanted to do this gig, and so I assumed that everybody was getting paid the same. And
do you think they played you on that?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
Totally.
They were like, this kid won't know that.
Exactly. Because everybody in that band was in their 50s.
Right.
And so anyways, so I had enough money. I was like, okay, I'm going to go look for apartments. But New York is so damn expensive. I was used to Dallas, renting a whole house out and having a place to jam. And so I eventually, for some reason... No, actually, I went up to Woodstock because we did the second Edie Brickell record up there at Bearsville, and I loved it up there. So I was like, well, maybe I should just go to Woodstock. I only have to be in the city one day a week to do SNL.
Mm-hmm. Was it Fridays you had to be there, and then Saturday, or
no? Saturday morning at 10 a.m.
Just that one day,
and you're there all day. But so I ended up I found this place in Woodstock that was amazing. It's like $700 a month rent. It's a huge 2-bedroom house looking over the Shokan Reservoir and the Catskill Mountains with a mountain bike trail in my backyard going down. And it was awesome. So I'd wake up every morning, play drums, hop on my mountain bike. It was great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I made some really good friends there. And every Saturday I'd wake up at 6 in the morning and have a long day.
Yeah.
Going to the city.
How was it?
Play the show. Well, the show, everybody in the band was incredible. Every show was, it was the year that Wayne's World came out, so
okay,
that was super fun.
Yeah.
We did the music for that with Dana Carvey, we were in the studio together, double drumming. But it was it was that cast with Phil Hartman, Chris Farley.
The best. One of the best.
Chris Rock. It was all those dudes.
Mike Myers, as you said.
And that was the year Nirvana played, and Public Enemy, and it was just super fun to hang out there.
That must have been 21. You were saying.
Well, okay, I was probably 22.
But still.
91, yeah.
Damn, you were a kid.
I was a wee lad.
Wow.
And so I did that for a season up until I think it was June. You know, it's scheduled like a school year. And so when that was done, I was just like, you know, I don't think I want to do this again. Because it was like having a lounge gig in Vegas or something. You know, and all the cats in the band were very cool. They were like, hey, you know, you're really young. You should be out playing music. This is the kind of gig you take when you're, you know, in your 50s and have children. And
they said that?
Oh, yeah. A couple guys like Steve Turre and Lenny Pickett were like, man.
Lenny Pickett was
you know, they were just like, Matt, go play some fucking music. Just go, you know, go do it. Don't do this shit.
That's mind-blowing, though, to me.
They were very encouraging. And so...
so you had obviously voiced to them that you weren't that happy with it as well, right?
Well, it just didn't... You know, I wasn't
just
playing...
kind of bored?
I felt like a cop. You know, I was joking around with my friends. I was like, I just eat donuts and drink coffee. And... And then I played blues and G into a commercial break.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I talked to Sean. I talked to Sean, and he said when he started with GEs, it was just blues. Yeah.
And you know, it's on one hand, it's great to be employed, of course.
That's what I was saying.
Okay, like, it's awesome. It's and you do learn something from every gig, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And GE had lots of great people show up, like Johnny Winter came and sat in with us, and you know, we did skits with like Steve Martin, like these musical skits, and you know, there's a lot of fun stuff. But so at the end of that season, I was like, well, I'm gonna hang out in Woodstock for a summer, enjoy myself, ride my mountain bike, just play crazy drums, and then I thought, well, you know, I should probably move somewhere where I can just play music and not have to worry too much about making a living. And at the time, Seattle was, you know, a great place. Like in the early 90s, you know, it's like tons of clubs, lots of bands. I had played with Pearl Jam before the SNL gig. I did like a little fill-in tour because they were in between drummers. And I remember being there like the summer before and rehearsing and just thinking, this is like one of the best cities on the planet for music. You know, it's like super beautiful, inexpensive, tons of musicians, not just, you know, guys that go, yeah, or just, you know, it wasn't all just grunge rock. You know, there's tons of like experimental music and just, you know, a lot of really interesting, and it still is. It's still a great place. And so I just hopped in my U-Haul and drove across the country, and I had a friend.
So you had no plan, by the way, just to reestablish that. When you left SNL, there was no like, I'm leaving because I'm going to go.
No.
It was just...
No. I just knew...
Did anyone tell you, like, dude, you're crazy? Did anyone say, like, dude, don't do this?
People were like, you're really going to do that? I was like, sure, why not? You know what I mean? Like
22, it's so beautiful.
I was like, well, what else am I going to do? You know? Got to do stuff I love to do. So anyways, I knew it was a percussionist from New Bohemian's sister lived in Seattle. So I reached out to her and I was like, can I just crash on your floor? So I drove out there and lived on her floor for a while until I found an apartment. And
again, you were done with Pearl Jam at this point. Well,
the Pearl Jam thing was just like a hired gun because their first drummer quit. It was right before 10 came out, and they had this tour booked on the East Coast, you know, just doing all kinds of club gigs, and I was like, cool, let's do it.
Did you dig it?
It was fun. I didn't have any connection to the music, you know. It's like here's a band that's like really tight, they just did a record and they're obviously a band, and then me, you know, it's like, hey, nice to meet you guys, let's jump in a van and like share, you know, it's like 3 people in a hotel room. You know, it's kind of, it's like, hi, nice to meet you, let's get married, you know, that kind of thing. You gotta feel it. But those guys are still good friends,
right?
And so, just moved to Seattle, and and the money ran out really fast because, you know, the SNL gig didn't, you know, pay so well, and so I found myself just selling everything. I was like selling drums, I was taking all my CDs to the local UCD place to sell them. Just like calling people up, just like I like playing drums. I'll just do whatever. I'll play any kind of gig. And this was like in 93, 94.
Had you met Michael Shreve yet?
I knew he was there.
Okay.
In Seattle. And so I just started jamming with people. I just started calling people up. I was like, hey, I got a place, let's play, you know. And so I met Skerrick, who was the sax player that I started this band called Critters Buggin' with.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time I had a little 4-track cassette recorder, and I just record all of our jams, and I just got really into recording. I had like a little PZM microphone I'd put behind my head, you know, like a Radio Shack PZM, and then I had like a 57 and like a kick mic, like a D112. And so I would just record everybody that came over, and I just got really into it. And
that was just from all that downtime, though. Which is.
And I was teaching drum lessons and whatever I could do to make money, because Seattle is not a place where you're going to make money unless you're in a band.
Right.
And if you're in a band, you're going to be on the road. You're not going to be there. So being a local musician in Seattle is really tough.
Did it help at all, though? That was pretty good street cred at that point, right? I mean, you were the guy who played with Pearl Jam, Edie Brickell, and did the SNL gig. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I was broke, and I was living in a little tiny apartment. Just like giving drum lessons, trying to figure out how to not get screwed over business-wise again. So, yeah.
Isn't that amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. And so, you know, I learned a lot from that, for sure.
And then having that downtime, and then that's where you're like, well, fuck it, I'll get into recording. I'll just start learning how to use this stuff. And
well, I started writing music. I was just like, I'm just going to start writing music. So I started playing guitar and and piano, and just started writing all this music. And Stone from Pearl Jam built a studio, and he was like, hey, you know, all those little demos of all that crazy music you make, why don't you just come and, you know, do a record? He started a little record label called Loose Groove Records off of Epic. It's like a little side label. And so my band Critters Buggin', we went in and did our first record with this producer Dennis Herring, who did like all those Modest Mouse records, and just really creative producer. So we did our first record, came out on Epic. You know, we had a budget. It was crazy. Still broke, of course. You know, we're still playing clubs and just, you know, I'm just hustling, just trying to make it work. But, you know, it wasn't so hard in Seattle, because, you know, my rent was $250 a month, so it wasn't that
Were you
hard.
sharing a place?
Yeah, with the bass player.
Yeah.
From the New Bohemians, who moved up to Seattle. So we started Critters Buggin', this band, together.
$250 though, that's.
And so, anyways, we did that really hardcore. We did another record for Epic, toured a ton, and then I got this call out of the blue from the Wallflowers, and they were doing their second record, and they wanted me to come and play drums on it because they liked my drumming on the New Bohemians record that I played on, the second one. And
so it was not T-Bone, it was Jacob and the boys.
Yeah. So I came down here and lived with the guitar player in his mom's house, and still broke. You know, I'm just like, they flew me down. I think they flew me down somehow, but I wasn't getting paid. I was basically going to be in the band, I guess, but so, you know, we just rehearsed, played some gigs around town, auditioned producers. That's what we did, and we ended up with T-Bone Burnett.
See, I thought it was. You see what I did? I thought all this time T-Bone said, "No, I know the guy." And
no, because T-Bone came to like a.
You were with them before T-Bone.
Yeah, we auditioned a couple of guys. We went in the studio even with a couple guys.
You did. You started and.
Yeah, and like a couple guys just didn't work out, and so.
Was it just the vibe, or?
Yeah, and the sounds, and yeah. There's one guy who I will not name, but he was just so weird. You know, he would walk over to you when you're playing and like go pow 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 pow, like punch in the air, and then, you know, like I didn't know what he was trying to tell me. And so.
But this is someone who still works today, obviously.
He's a famous.
It's a famous name,
dude, and went in the studio with them, and he had like all these vegan cupcakes, and we accidentally ate them, and he got really pissed off at us. And so
have you worked with him since, by the way?
No. I don't know where he's at. It's so bizarre. But then T-Bone was great. He was great. We ended up.
So you had never met T-Bone, obviously, at this point. You just
No, he just came to a rehearsal. I forgot where it was at. It was some place down off of like Larchmont. It's a rehearsal studio that we had, and so T-Bone came to a rehearsal and just sat in the rehearsal space, and he was like, "Yeah, cool." And then the next day, I got a call from his assistant asking if I wanted to play on some record that he was producing, some other record. And so he started hiring me to play on records. And
just from that one rehearsal?
Yeah. So I ended up.
That's cool.
It was really cool to work with him. You know, he's super cool.
And that's how it's done too. I like that. The assistant called you.
Because he's not going to call. No.
I just find that it's fascinating. He's at a rehearsal one day. The next day, it's like the assistant or whatever saying, "Hey, we got work for you."
Yeah, are you available and wanting to do this? And I was in town anyways. And
so were you digging the Wallflowers thing, by the way? I mean, did you feel like, this is my band, this is cool?
Yeah, I like those guys. And
do you help develop those tunes?
We really worked on those songs on that record. Like we really, you know, we recorded them, re-recorded them, deconstructed them, tried different shit, and yeah, and then we went in and recorded it with T-Bone in different sessions. Like we do, you know, 4 or 5 songs one week, and then they'd work on those songs, and then we come back and cut 4 more. So it was like in different sessions. But then, like the Wallflowers manager, Andy Slater, was also, at the same time this was all going down, had received a cassette tape from his house cleaner of this singer named Fiona Apple. And he's like, "Check this out, dude." And I was like, "Wow, what is this? This is really cool. It's just her playing piano and singing." And he's like, "Yeah, we're going to go in and start cutting her record soon." And so all of a sudden I found myself doing records, like within 4 or 5 months. And this was all while the Wallflowers were finishing up their record. And then, what else happened? It was like a crazy, you know, like a bunch of stuff just all happened at once. And because the Wallflowers wanted me to go out on the road and be in the band, but then I started getting all this work, and I was like, you know, I don't know if I want to be in a band. I'd rather just do records. And
you hadn't known that, but as in the process, thought, I like this better.
I like it better because you're kind of in and out of the drama. You don't have to be around for the whole thing, you know. And
yeah.
Then you get to, you know, play more music. It's like different types of music. And so, you know, we started doing the Fiona Apple stuff.
And you're here. You're in
LA. Yeah.
Okay, at this time.
And so I'm just going back and forth from Seattle, and
you're not living here at that point.
No, just in hotels, and this is like 95.
What were you thinking of LA at that point? Let's just for a minute.
I never wanted to live here.
You were like,
Well, I grew up here, so, you know, I was like, I don't want to move back. And so that happened. Then the guy who produced the second Critters Buggin' record was this guy named Eric Ross, and he did Tori Amos's first 2 records. And he was living in Taos, New Mexico, and we did the second Critters Buggin' record out there in the desert. And this was all going down while I was doing the first Fiona Apple record, which I guess that was 96, maybe 97. And so near the end of all Fiona stuff and the end of the Critters Buggin' thing, Eric Ross, the producer, said, hey, Tori called me, and she's looking to do this new record where she starts it off with a drummer in her. Because usually she had done records where it was just piano and vocal, and then she'd overdub drums. And he's like, would you be interested in, like, meeting with her? And I was like, yeah, of course. You know, I love Tori. And so I flew out to her house in Florida. It was so bizarre. And somehow we rented some drums from somewhere. it was like in West Palm Beach. There were drums at her house, and I showed up and she picked me up and we went and had lunch and we went to her house and, you know, her piano's there and she had like a little recording rig in the living room and a drum kit. And so we just jammed for a weekend. I just crashed out at her place and we just jammed and drank a bunch of coffee and she played me all these new songs that she was working on and I was like, man, this is awesome. Love to do this. And so I went home, and this is all while the Fiona Apple record's still going on. And then Andy Slater, the manager of Fiona Apple and the Wallflowers, was like, hey, there's this other artist I just discovered called Macy Gray. I'm working with her. It's like kind of soul thing. Would you be into playing drums on it? I was like, hell yeah, it sounds great. So, you know what I mean? It just all kind of happened.
But did the manager, I mean, you're saying, what's his name?
Andy Slater.
And he was managing all three.
Yeah, he was working for a management company.
But didn't he see it coming? Like, if he keeps putting these other things in your way, that they're going to be having to look for a replacement drummer for the Wallflowers?
I think so.
Yeah. He was in on it, huh?
I don't know. He just, I don't know. And he became the producer on the first Fiona record and the Macy Gray. So he kind of wanted to get his group of people.
I gotcha.
And John Bryan was also part of that group. So it was like me and John Bryan on a lot of those records.
There was a team being built.
He was trying to do like the Wrecking Crew thing where he had his dudes.
Yeah.
And
so Macy Gray comes along, and
that was actually that was a little bit later because I had been on the road with Tori. So I did the Tori record out of her place in Cornwall, England. She had another house in 4 hours south of London in the middle of nowhere, and she built a studio that her husband. It was her husband's farmhouse or something. So we did that record from the Choir Girl Hotel. Did the tour for it, and during the tours when I did the Macy Gray, because Andy was flying me here on days off from the tour to record. So that was in 98 or 99, somewhere in there. Anyways, that was the start of me becoming a session musician, I think, because all of a sudden I was playing on records. And luckily they did really well, so
yeah.
Kind of.
The money was good then, right?
It was nice, yeah, and people were taking care of me. And then I started to realize that this is what people use. Like, there's a standardized way people get paid here. There's the musicians union, and
right.
There's like scale pay. There's, if you do it right, you're getting paid well, and you get residuals and all this business. So I just had no idea about that until I started doing more and talking to production assistants about so if I work for 4 hours, is that a full day? Is that a half day? Trying to figure it out, and then asking other drummers well, so what do you get paid? How does that work? Is it every man for himself? Do you just get whatever you can get, and or do you? Is there a standardized way? I mean, it just seemed like such a dark science, a black math.
How did you find your way through that?
I'm still finding my way. Now it's with the music industry collapsing, none of that stuff means much anymore.
Yeah.
It's about whether or not you like the music and what their budget is.
Yeah.
But you just. I forgot what my point was. Okay.
Well, we were talking about really almost timelining it.
Oh, right.
And I was going to ask you, you did do road work with Tori Amos, as you were also going to say, but everyone you work with, were they also saying, and are you available for the road?
Not everybody.
Not everybody.
Tori was a really special situation because that first record I did with her, I was such a part of it. I felt like I was in a band with her. We were collaborating on this.
Yeah.
We tracked the record. Yeah. It was just me and her, and then she added people around what we did. So, and she really wanted me to have input. So I felt really attached to it. It wasn't just like I was hired and I was the drummer guy over there in the drum booth playing drums, and we really hit it off, and we ended up working together, and I mean pretty much straight until like 2009. You know, it'd be like a record and then a tour, then a record and a tour. You know, she's awesome.
Yeah.
But now she's getting more, like she just wrote a musical that's it just premiered last month in the West End in London for the Royal National Theatre. It's pretty amazing.
Not bad.
She's on it.
Doing the Cyndi Lauper thing.
She's doing the musical, man. Did Cyndi Lauper do a musical?
She's got Kinky Boots running on Broadway right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it makes sense. When you get to be a certain age and you've road dogged it all your life, kind of want to find a different way to make music. And
well, did you enjoy it then? I mean, being on the road, that is, with Tori at that time, it was cool. It wasn't like I'm getting tired of this. I want to get.
Oh hell no! It was so much fun.
It was fun.
It was a really good time for her. Like her career was killing. Like we played Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
You know, 4 nights at the Royal Albert Hall. You know, it was like really, really amazing for her, and the music was really fun, and you know, was you know, as far as doing a tour, it was pretty great.
But I mean, to jump ahead, you eventually just said you got burnt out of the road, or no, things just happened.
No, yeah, I'd be on the road. But
you're up for being on the road.
I haven't been asked to be on the road. Yeah, I moved to LA in 2000. At the end of 2010, I'd done a tour with Brad Meldau, and after that, I just moved here. And that was the last tour I did. Nobody's asked me to go on the road since 2010, so I've just been doing records.
Right.
Boo-hoo. Wah, wah, wah.
But you are saying, you're putting it out there now that you're up for it if it was the right thing.
I love touring if it's the right thing.
But, of course,
yeah.
It has to be the right thing, and yeah.
It's always fun.
Well, cool.
I've done tours in vans. I don't care. I like music, so you know, if it's with a good group of people.
Right on. So it's not about the money, though. By the way, it's not. Would money help? Like if it was something that you're like, it's okay. If it was that thing, you know, it's okay. I don't love it. It's okay.
I can't do that because I would be miserable.
Okay.
I've tried it before for short spurts.
Was it really well paid though? Like really well paid?
I've done a few things that were well paid, and it always worked against me as far as.
Okay.
I just wasn't happy. I didn't feel like I could be myself and contribute anything actually. So I'm just like back there going, well, I don't really get this music, but I'm getting well paid. What am I going to offer?
But it's only good for what, a couple of weeks?
I quit that one tour, that one particular tour. I left.
How far into it?
Like a week. Very unprofessional of me, but I had a backup plan.
You had someone to come in?
Yeah. I was like, listen.
The chair's covered?
I'm going to leave, but here are some people that are amazing.
Gotcha.
And it went on for like another 8. It was like an 8-month tour or something crazy. But I just was like, man, I can't do this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't do the same set list every night, the same drum parts, micromanaged drum fills. I can't. Even if I studied all the exact little drum parts and try to do it every night, I couldn't. I'm just not that kind of drummer, I don't think. I have a hard time playing exact drum parts. I kind of improvise a little.
Even in the studio?
Yeah. Well, unless there's something that's very
you've come up with a part
specific,
and we're set on it.
I'll write it in my chart or something. I'll be like, okay, you got to do this, got to do that, because you know it's like a hook or something, or you know the artist has it in their demo or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So things just started happening. You're flying back and forth, Seattle, LA. This goes on for a long time, right?
Up until 2010.
Right, like that's a lot of years. Just
I know.
Yeah.
That's why we moved down here. It's like I got to see the woman I'm married to. I'm married to this person, because I was gone over 200 something days a year.
Yeah.
Even when I wasn't touring. So.
Just from being here. Just
from being here in Nashville, or wherever somebody's making a record, you know, like Tori's place in Cornwall, or.
So it was sort of just like, but why here? I mean, just because of all the work, like you said, is that?
Why did we move here?
Yeah.
Well, this is one of the last places in the U.S. where you can make a living playing drums. It's pretty common. There's more opportunities for, whether it's just doing live gigs, or there's a soundtrack world. There's singer-songwriters, bands. I mean, it's just it's the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. It's really common for people to make a living. Not so much in Seattle. It's like everybody up there was like, "So, you're a drummer, huh? What band you in?" "Well, I'm not really in a band. People hire me to play on records." "Oh, cool. So what band are you in?" They just didn't get the concept. Down here it's like, "Oh, cool. My uncle used to be a session musician, and it's just more common."
Yeah.
Or Nashville. Nashville's another great place for music.
That's what I was wondering. Had you thought of other places? Did you go through a period of considering, or no?
Well, yeah, Nashville's a great place. We still consider that.
Yeah.
Because I've done quite a few records there in my parallel life as a session musician or a country session musician.
Aren't you the country drummer of the year? I'm sorry, weren't you? There was.
I just got this trophy in the mail saying, "You are the American Country Music Awards Drummer of the Year for 2013."
You got the trophy.
Yeah. Which is so crazy. I played on one record there in the past 4 years. It was this Miranda Lambert record.
One record.
Which is really cool. I'm glad they paid attention to that. That was nice of them. So, yeah, it's so surreal. But I love it there, man, because it's...
But you do other work there. You did one country record the last 4 years. What other records are you doing there?
Well, I'd really only been there like once in the past 4 years.
Oh, okay.
I did another record for a guy... Actually, I take that back. There was a record I did for this guy who has a group called City in Color. His name's Dallas Green. That was super fun.
Okay.
He's from Canada. He's from Montreal.
Nice. But I mean, what do you, at this point in the game, do you have to be in town, or could you be anywhere and be doing it via, just send me the tracks. Just send me tracks. And
It's getting more and more like that. I don't know if you know, but I have a studio over in Van Nuys next to the old Sound City studios. It's like a built-out room. It's like a 500 square foot tracking room and a 250 square foot control room. But it's set up just to do drum overdubs or small rhythm section things. But like, for instance, last week I did a couple tracks for Neil Finn, and he lives in New Zealand. And his producer is that guy David Fridman, who lives in upstate New York. The guy who did the Flaming Lips records and MGMT.
Okay.
And so, I'm over here in Van Nuys, and so it was. Yeah, I could have been anywhere. You know what I mean? Like with that kind of thing, it's like, well, I'm doing all the drums myself, and and they're emailing me the tracks. They're uploading stuff, so it could.
This is where we're at.
It really is. And I just did a ton of stuff from Miranda Lambert's new record at my studio. After we did the basic tracks, they wanted me to add all kinds of percussion and, just try stuff.
And is that just you doing your thing alone? There's no one...
I'm just engineering it.
Like, no one's there to say, no, not quite like that, Matt. No, just, you go.
No, yeah, well, in Pro Tools, you can just playlist it, so you can just try one idea and then do another take and try another.
But that's what I'm saying. You get to just play.
You just kind of just try shit. And, if you have questions, I was calling them up going, hey, on this song, like, what are you hearing? Mm-hmm. I don't really hear anything in particular.
Right.
What are you guys hearing? So.
Would you prefer that there's a producer there present?
It goes faster, yeah. If the artist and the producer's there, they can go, no, yes, no.
Right.
It's like, well, what if I want to use concert toms? No.
Right.
Right.
Otherwise, you've spent your time actually doing it, and they're like, that's good, but no.
Yeah, you can get really creative, but it might be the whole, like a totally different vibe than what they're thinking,
Yeah.
like Neil Finn sent me a demo of him playing drums, and he's like, just check out the vibe, but do your thing. And so that was really helpful.
But I mean, are you doing a lot of work or any work in the big studios here? I mean, is it enough to say, I mean, what I'm getting back to that question of, is it getting to the point where someone like you could be anywhere? Could you be, in...
Well, a lot of the work, yeah, well...
Or is it like, no, I still need to be here, I still need to be...
A lot of it is producers coming to my studio with the artist and the tracks, and they live here.
Yeah.
And they'd rather be in a space that sounds good where they can get what they need, and then they go back to their studio. Gotcha. Most people are working like that.
Yeah.
Like most of the time when you end up at like a Ocean Way or Sunset Sound, it's just to track drums, or it's just to do a basic rhythm section. So at my space, we can do that. It sounds pretty good. I got all the great mics and tons of drums, and it's almost more creative because I have all my stuff there. I could run around and got all kinds of weird percussion and electronic-y things. I can make loops. I could do this and that, and it's all really simple. It's not this whole thing of like, oh man, I wish I would have brought this, or I wish I would have brought that. It's all there, so I can just go, well, let me just try this idea, and just run over and just do it.
The room is your bag of tricks. It's all there.
It's my instrument, I guess.
It's great. Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier. It makes it faster. It makes it more creative.
But that's important. You were saying about the idea of the artists are here.
Yeah.
And they're coming there and all that. It's
because you're collaborating together.
And it could happen in Nashville too, I guess.
Well, in Nashville we played all together, but then they sent me the tracks to put more stuff on, more percussion.
But a lot of artists and producers there is all I'm saying. If you had that room there, in other words.
Oh, it would probably happen like that. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because they want to, be a part of it. Of course, they don't want to just send you a track and go, just do your thing.
So we're not at the point where you could be anywhere quite yet.
I don't think so. I mean, you can, but I think people want, if they're not going to be all in the same room together, tracking, and they want to feel like they're at least a little bit a part of something to do with their record. So if they can come over to your space, like if you're a guitar player and you have an overdub situation set up, they want to come over to your place and have you try ideas and be a part of it. And the producer as well, to make sure the sounds are right, to make sure it's just the record they want to make.
Yeah. And you have your guys, or are there producers where you're their guy, you're one of their guys, right? I mean, it's just the same names come up.
There's a lot. Yeah, it's really cool.
Right?
It's like
that kind of thing.
It's like we're in a band together, only we work with different artists.
Right.
Like they trust that I'm going to do stuff that's going to work.
There's a shorthand between you and...
They don't have to talk too much, yeah.
Exactly.
And we feel really comfortable. Like I don't have to get to know them. I can say stupid shit to them and they'll understand. The artist might be alienated, but like, what did he just say?
That's their problem.
Yeah. But there's I'm really fortunate that there are producers that I work with really well, and we've been doing records together for 15 years now, which is amazing. Like Eric Ross, for instance.
Ross.
The guy who did the Critters Buggin' record that he just texted me like a couple hours ago. He's like, what are you doing next week? Excuse me. It's that Reuben sandwich I ate.
Reuben.
The veggie Reuben. Have you seen that one?
No, I have not actually.
It's a pretty good veggie Reuben. But
the veggie.
It's an oxymoron. It doesn't make any sense. But it's it's LA. But
Yeah, I know. The tofu taco and all that.
Yeah. So Eric, we still work together.
Yeah.
It's so great.
And then there's people who just hit you up, right? Like out of the blue. Hi, I would like, right? Email. I would like to have you on this.
Yeah. All the time.
And then does it start the whole thing where then you write back, well, what's your budget? And well, it's that whole thing.
It's like, please send me some music.
Well, right.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And then you kind of judge it from
make
there.
sure this is something that
If it's something that you feel like, no, I'm not into this, will you still play on it?
It all depends. There's like that old rule, you know, if you have three things,
yeah.
you know.
But let's say the hang doesn't matter. Let's say they're in New York City,
right.
and they're just like, dude, I want your drums. I'm sending you the track. So you're not going to be hanging. So now it's just two. So it's just money or
good music.
Again, like the music's like it's okay.
Yeah.
But the money's good. You'll play it.
Well, it all depends. I mean, there's also the other factor of, are the people cool that you're working for? Because it's about the process a lot of times. Like, you want to have fun, and at least, you know, if you know the song isn't that great, you want to have fun doing it, and you want to, you know, obviously do your best all the time, right? I mean, you want it to sound really good,
right.
as good as you possibly can. And these people, you know, you have to respect the fact that they love what they're doing, you hope. And, you know, I might not get it now, you know, maybe in 20 years I'll go, what was I thinking? That shit was great. You know what I mean? It happens to me all the time with music. You know, like some music I'll be like, well, this is really horrible. But, you know, not necessarily music I'm playing on, but just like I'll listen to something on the radio. Like, this is really horrible. And then like 10 years later I'll be like, actually, that's not so bad. That was really good. What was I thinking? You know, like that kind of thing. Yeah. So I try to suspend judgment.
Yeah.
Do
you ever ask your wife, for example, like, do you do that? Do you like, come here?
I'm like, what do you think?
Am I crazy? Like, is this?
And she'll go, oh, honey, no.
Right,
or,
right.
That's not so bad. Just because, you know, a lot of times I don't want to be a jerk about it, because I love music, and I like the process of making records. I love it.
You don't want to put your name on just anything.
Well, preferably in a perfect world, you would just play on stuff you loved and wouldn't have to worry about making a living. But you know, as musicians, we're always kind of trying to balance out. Well, I got to eat, and this music isn't amazing, but the people are really cool, and I'm going to do my best and try to make this person really psyched about their record. You know, and you never know, it might turn into something really cool. Mm-hmm. There's been plenty of records I've done like that where I'm like, well, you know, I don't really get the demos. You know, maybe the demos were really done really bad, but then you get in the studio and you're like, wow, this is actually really good. This is really cool. It just needed to be interpreted a little differently, and you know what I mean? So the one thing I will say no to is if the people are really jerky, like if they're just jerks. Like if they don't value you as a musician or as a human. If they're just like, yeah, you'll be all right. I mean, just it's really stupid. Just play drum, you know. Oh, you'll get it in one take. It's fucking stupid, you know. And you're just like, well, what am I doing? I don't want to do that.
It's their song, their thing, and they're like,
it's just stupid shit. And it's like, I don't want to work with you. Why don't you go get somebody else? But if they're really into it, of course I'll.
Sounds like a New Yorker, by the way. This guy. It's stupid. You'll do it.
I remember I got this.
Don't worry about it.
I got this one email. It's the guy's like, this music is so stupid, you'll get it in one take. Anybody could do it. I was like, well, why? I was thinking to myself, what is this guy? You know, maybe he's just wording it wrong. Yeah. But whatever it is, he's obviously not into doing this record, this producer. Why would I be into doing it?
Anybody can do it. I like that.
Yeah. It's a funny situation being a hired musician, because you want to, because you're there to help people, right?
Yeah.
Like if I was to hire you to play on my record, I'd want to hire you and have you do some really cool shit and not stifle you. Or maybe I already have some really cool shit and I just want you to play it the way
You get both of that, right?
Yeah, you know, maybe I did this demo and I really like the vibe of it, but I want it to be a real person because it was programmed drums or something.
But I want
you have to respect that. Yeah, you have to respect that. It's like, you can't just go, well, why'd you hire me, man? Don't you want me to do my thing? It's like, well, you know, maybe your thing isn't what the song needs. Maybe your thing should, you know, take a break, and you should just play what they did on the demo because it sounds really cool. Or
so you appreciate that part of it.
I love that part of it because a lot of times it's stuff you would never think of playing. Ends up making you look good. People are like, how'd you come up with that drum part? Well, let me tell you. was because the singer programmed this crazy beat in GarageBand or something that doesn't make any sense. That a drummer would never play it in a million years, but it's really cool.
And that's what I got.
And that's what I got to play. But so that kind of stuff, it's tricky. And over time, my radar is starting to get pretty good. I think I can kind of sense.
You can sniff out who's worth it. And...
Yeah, like there's certain people that overthink things and they talk about it a lot and you can kind of sense that if you go in the studio with them, they're just gonna make you insane. You're gonna probably want to kill them. Those I avoid.
The talkers. They've got a lot of theory about what's gonna happen.
It's like, it's kind of like this, it's kind of like that, but we really want you to do your thing, but listen to the demo, but we want you to do your thing. Really, but the demo. And then, but we want it to kind of sound like you too, but with a little Depeche Mode, but real loose, kind of like Neil Young. But we want you to do your thing. Actually, listen to this record right here, because this is really what we... No, actually, never mind. Maybe we... like that kind of shit. So, yeah.
And you'll just nip it in the bud early and say, you know what?
I try.
Yeah.
I try.
You try to read crazy.
Well, because people get really nervous going into the studio.
Makes complete sense to me, though.
Some people just lose their shit when they go in the studio and they think it's the end of the world if they don't control it, or they feel like, they have these musicians here that they've spent money on. We got to beat them down and get everything out of them that we possibly can instead of being happy with a really good performance. They want to try everything because they don't know exactly what they want.
Right.
But they want to cover every option.
Has anyone ever lost their shit on you, like in that moment of just because of their own stress and all that stuff you're talking about, and just been like, what? Had some kind of meltdown and screamed and yelled and...
Nope.
Never. Okay. Anyone ever... Was anyone ever just a total dick to you in a session and you were thought, what the fuck is it? Like, yeah.
And those are the ones I just leave.
Did you walk?
I just leave. I just leave. I don't say anything. I just get my stick bag and I leave.
So this has happened more than...
A couple times, unfortunately.
As a silent exit, you mean? One of those?
I just... Yeah,
like they don't even really notice you left. It's just kind of
You just can't... Yeah, if you can.
Right. Just slip out the door.
One of them, I actually walked up to the artist and I said, thank you for hiring me. Thank you so much for hiring me, but I'm going to leave now.
Was it anyone? Was it someone you were into?
No, not necessarily. I was warned beforehand. I just didn't believe it. But I just wanted to... I don't know.
You were warned beforehand.
I was by multiple people.
Multiple people.
Yep, and
was it basically what they warned you about?
Exactly. But I just didn't believe them.
Sometimes you gotta know for yourself.
Yeah, I was like, it can't be that bad. No way, it can't be that bad.
It's not possible. Yeah.
And then you get there and you're like, wow, okay, I'm leaving. Thank you.
Have you ever been in situations where you were going to work with someone that you look up to and, all that kind of stuff, and wow, the hero maybe, and then you're like, what a dick.
Luckily that hasn't happened.
Yeah, that's cool. All
the people that are really great are pretty much great people. The really great ones are really great people. Because it's the ones in the middle that you got to watch out for.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Seriously.
Gotcha. I mean, a lot of shit going down with Fiona Apple right now, for example. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, she's always had some demons.
Yeah.
She's... and she wears them on her sleeve. That's her thing. She's pretty special like that, but she's never been a jerk or mean to me. She's just a person that's going through some shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a difference, as you were saying. People.
Yeah, it's not directed towards you. It's just you can tell that
they treat people badly.
Yeah. Like Fiona is just going through whatever she's going through, and it has nothing to do with anybody around her. She's really sweet.
She's not outwardly like.
No, she's really sweet to everybody.
Mm-hmm. So, and you did work with Bowie, by the way. That we jumped over.
And he was really fun.
When did that happen again? What year are we talking?
That was 2001.
Okay. So you are in Seattle at that point, still flying back and forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was where with Bowie?
That was in Woodstock, like outside of Woodstock, in this amazing studio that's not there called Alaire. And it was amazing. It was like it was on the top of this mountain in the woods, and it was some historical like summer home for, I can't remember, it was like the person who his family provided seed for the cattle, for McDonald's cattle or something. Like one of those kind of bizarre families that just had like ridiculous resources. And so the Bowie thing was incredible because it was Tony Visconti, who I'd known beforehand. I worked with him in LA on this project. And out of the blue, like 4 years later, he called me up and said, "Hey, I'm gonna work with Bowie and your name keeps popping up. Would you be into coming up and working on this record?" And I was like, "Of course I would. What are you talking about? Would I be into it?" And it was literally, well, Tony is a bass player as well as a producer. And so he played bass. It was just him, an assistant, Bowie, and me for like 2 weeks. In this little place in the mountains.
All living together.
All living together. And Bowie's wife, Amon, and his little baby, he just had a baby at the time. And so every morning he'd wake up and play with this kid and write a song. Then we'd have lunch, because I'd wake up around like 10 or 11. And we'd have lunch, and then we'd start recording. And it would just be drums and bass. So Tony would be producing but playing bass. And it was in the room, there was this room there that was just one big room, so there's no like isolation. And like the first day, it was so funny, you know, all nerves, of course, you know, it's David Bowie. He's really, really sweet. And he's sitting in this couch, or on this couch, in front of the drum kit, just smoking, like reading some books. Literally, like if the kit's set up right there, like, you know, 7-8 feet away. And I'm playing drums, and he's sitting right in front of me, just smoking and, you know, reading and looking at me. You know, we all have headphones on because you can't listen to the monitors while you're tracking in that one room because it's all one room. And so after the first take, I was like, "What do you think? Is it sounding all right?" And we're like, "I don't know. Let's listen back," because we couldn't monitor as we were playing, so we listened back to it, and it was luckily it was good. It was working, and so I did a few little overdubs, and we took a break, and Bowie walked up to me and he goes, "Oh, so you think you can play drums, huh?" He's just totally giving me shit, you know, like, "Oh, so you think you can play drums, do you?" And I'm like, "Well, I hope so. I'm here to do that for the next couple of weeks." But he was like he had a serious sense of humor, and he's a big music fan. Like every day at the end of the day, he would just whip out his CD booklet and just start playing me shit. Be like, "Have you heard this? Have you heard this?" Just like hanging out with your friend, listening to records.
That was awesome.
It was so much fun.
Is that one of the best that there's been for you, or that experience?
That was really fun. Yeah, that was like a super creative, like 10, 11 days of just, that's all we did.
That's awesome. I mean, just, yeah.
You know, and he was writing the songs, and, you know, like I'd say, "Well, let me try to come up with something," because I brought up all this percussion, and at the time I was using an MPC to make loops. I was like, let me just try to like do some loopy thing. I need an hour by myself. And so they'd leave, and I'd be sitting there just making shit, and they'd come back, and I'd be like, "So what do you think about this?" And they're like, "Okay, cool, yeah, let's just put it on tape or whatever." You know, we were doing it to 16-track 2-inch, which was really cool, to analog tape. But we also had a computer synced up so we could do stuff like this. And so I'd just throw things in, and we'd try it against the track, and, you know, it was just super creative. It was like anything goes kind of situation. And Bowie was just, he was open to anything. He wasn't sitting there going, "No, that sucks," or, you know, he was like, "Well, interesting. Got anything else?" You know, like that kind of thing.
Do you tell you lots of stories at all?
Oh God, those guys, like at lunch and dinner, would just start busting out the stories from back in the day. And I wish I had a tape recorder But that'd be kind of creepy, right? To record your friends talking.
You can't really do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't get us back.
Yeah, there's so many stories. I don't even know. I can't remember half of them. But it was from that whole Berlin era when they were doing those Berlin records with Eno.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Because I guess the studio in Berlin, the control room and the room where they tracked were two separate rooms, totally apart from each other. So you couldn't communicate too well with the person that was recording. And they'd hired Adrian Belew to play on some of those, I think it was like Lodger, that Bowie record, Lodger. And Adrian had come in and they were into just like experimenting, so they had him just play the track without hearing it. And or they would just feed him certain elements. They just give him the drums and like some weird synth and say, just play. You know, just they do stuff like that, and then they take the bits that worked and use those in the track. But really interesting stories about Eno, about how Eno would just, he had a blackboard and he'd just write down chords, and he had a pointer and he'd point to different chords as the rhythm section was playing a funk groove, and they just do these chord changes, and they would try writing songs like that. So it was pretty fun, pretty educational, hanging out with those cats.
Yeah. You get to hang with other cats in this town who've been at it longer than you, the Jim Keltners and the JRs and all that. Do you do that? Do you compare notes and all that? Do you get into
Keltner? Since I moved down here, we've become really close. Like, we'll just get on the phone and just talk for hours about drums. And, you know, he's been through just about anything you could imagine in the studio with an artist. And so I'll just bounce things off of him just to see, like, if, you know, am I really a jerk? Or was I a jerk on this session? Or was I right? Or what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Don't you hate it when this happens? Isn't this great when this, you know, like, just all these ideas. And he's, you know, he's 71 and he's still going strong and still loves music and is always experimenting and trying shit. I love it.
Does he ever tell you, like, yeah, Matt, you may have been a little off on that one, like you were saying about asking him, do you think it was me? Like, does he ever say?
Not yet.
No, okay.
Luckily. We just went out on a movie date last week. I saw the Muscle Shoals documentary, which you should go check out. It's amazing.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Go see it in a theater, because it's on iTunes. You can. But man, it's so amazingly shot, so beautiful. But it was really interesting to see.
So you and Keltner went to see this movie. That's awesome. That's a good time.
Man, and he'd done some records there. He did a Dylan record there at Muscle Shoals.
Yeah.
And a couple other things. And
but you played with Dylan. I mean, opening for him you mentioned before. Did you get to know him?
No, but I got one good Dylan story. Okay, this tour, he's well, I don't know if he does it all the time, but this tour he was into wearing his hoodie. He always had his hoodie on everywhere. This was summertime in Europe, and he's like with his hoodie on. And so I'm sitting there in catering, eating, and he walks over to me and he goes, "Hey, you want to hear a story?" No, sorry, wait a minute. He goes, "Hey, you want to hear a joke?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I was kind of freaked out because he hadn't acknowledged my presence at all.
Right.
And he goes, "Okay, there was a royal potato family. You had King Potato, Queen Potato, and Princess Potato. And Princess Potato wanted to get married to Dan Rather. And so she walked over to King Potato and asked him, 'Father, I want to get married to Dan Rather.' And King Potato said, 'You can't get married to Dan Rather. He's a commentator.' And then he goes, and he just left. And then the other experience with him is he invited the whole band into his dressing room and played us a Christmas medley, like in the middle of summertime in Europe. It's just like, we're just sitting there and he's like, jingle bells, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. Just totally straight face.
You were invited in.
His assistant was like, hey, Bob wants you to come into his dressing room. And so, you know, it was a big deal. Everybody had to get rounded up. We're all in his dressing room, and he's like, jingle bells, jingle bells.
No, thank you for coming.
And he did the whole thing, and he ended it, and he's like, heh. And we're just like, thanks, Bob.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, you kind of expect him to do that.
Who was playing with him at that point? Kemper, by the way? Was it David Kemper or?
That was Chris Parker.
Chris Parker, okay.
It was basically the SNL band.
Right,
was on the road.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah. So weird. Bob Dylan, man, God bless him.
Are you digging it here back in LA?
I love it here, yeah.
Yeah. You're happy you made the move?
Yeah, man. You know, you wake up and the sun's out.
Can't lose.
Go for a hike up in the hills. Get some weird juice that people make and
pressed.
Have a veggie Reuben sandwich.
You're eating better. You're eating
better.
Yeah.
And then I go in the studio and, you know, I'm all energized from sunshine and
yeah.
You know.
Is that yeah, no, totally.
There's so many great musicians here, man. There's so many great musicians.
Yeah. There's a couple, right?
It's insane. It's truly insane.
Is there stuff that you I mean, one of the things I always like to ask people, like, is there stuff out there that you look at and think, man, I wish they'd asked me for that. I wish they'd call. They never call. Why don't they call? Like, do you go through that?
Well, there's certain artists I love, but I don't think they'd ever call me. Doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, I love Bjork. I don't think she's ever going to call me. It's like, you know, I doubt Bjork's going to go, you know, I really would like Matt Chamberlain's drumming on my record.
I like your Bjork.
Yeah, I'd like to. I don't know. I could try. You know, I would try to do something.
Oh, who else? For example, who else that you like that you think that wouldn't.
I would love to work with Brian Eno. I've always been a huge fan of his.
And see, that feels like that could happen.
You never know.
That doesn't seem so crazy a thought.
And then there's a lot of people that are just dead. I don't think I'll ever work with them.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, that's not gonna. No.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Hendrix, you can't.
No.
You can't bring him back.
No.
Coltrane, can't bring him back.
No.
I mean, there's songwriter people. There's producers more than anything I would like to work with. Like there's people that I admire the way that, you know, the way they make records, and I think it would be really, you know, a fun educational process to learn how they do it. Like how do you make records? Like, you know, I love Chad Blake. I've worked with him once, but it was for one day, and he didn't get to really dive into doing what he does, you know, with drums especially. There's Eno. There's the guy from you know, Radiohead's producer, Nigel Goodrich.
Yeah, that guy.
He's pretty great. I like what he does with drums, and then there's hip hop guys, like, you know, I've always wanted to work with Dr. Dre. I think that'd be amazing.
Totally.
You know, or God, I'm drawing a blank right now. You have to give me some names. Like, give me a list of people in the world, like, amazing, right, like, because there's so many amazing people that I'd love to work with. I just can't think of them. Of course, Paul McCartney. I mean,
yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Could you imagine that? I mean, I don't know how Abe doesn't lose his mind every time he plays a gig with him. It's like, I am playing with a Beatle, playing the song he wrote with the Beatles. You know, yeah. Wow. There's some electronic musicians I really love that I think would be fun to collaborate with. Mm-hmm. Just because I'm such a huge fan of that world. I think that's... I mean, there's like some old school electronic guys I still listen to, like Aphex Twin. I would love to get in the studio with that guy, mm-hmm. and just see what happens. Mm-hmm. You know, it just seems like it would just be crazy in a good way.
Is that something that you could, like, can you see yourself putting that out there, like you track them down, shoot them an email. Hey, man.
That would be fun. Yeah.
You know, like, do you know me?
I've considered stuff like that because when I'm not being employed as a musician for hire, I have things I'd like to say with music.
Yeah.
So I've put out a couple records of instrumental music and
on vinyl too.
Yep, on vinyl, and I've collaborated with people like Bill Frisell. We have this little duo where we kind of improvise, and so I love improvisation. I love making records in the studio, and I like it when you can do both. When you can kind of improvise and catch the initial spark of creativity, but record it in a cool way, so you get both. I love that.
Yeah.
And taking people out of their element and putting them in a studio, see what happens. I think that'd be fun. I mean, Johnny Greenwood, I love his take on music in general. His whole concept of how things work together. I love that. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should try to call Mr. Aphex Twin. What are you doing, Mr. Aphex Twin? Is your name Mr. Twin or Mr. Aphex?
How do I address you?
Yeah.
By the way, folks, just if I may say, Matt came over wearing a T-shirt. It's Bill Sabbath, and it's in the Black Sabbath font, and a picture of the mighty
Bill
Ward gracing his shirt, and I just think that's very cool. That is the T-shirt Matt is wearing today. Bill Sabbath. Did you go see the show, or you wouldn't go see the show without Bill?
What show? Did
the Sabbath
play?
thing? Didn't they do it? They did some shows with.
I didn't even know.
They had an album out.
Because I know they did that record with Rick Rubin.
Right.
Vegetarian Rubin.
Had Rick Rubin called you? Would you have?
That would have been fun.
Would you have been psyched?
Oh my God, that would have been.
No, I wasn't sure if you were going to go the other way, and you were going to say, "I couldn't do it."
I would have loved to have done that. I grew up listening to Black Sabbath. My mom used to put me in a room with Black Sabbath records while she went out on dates with dudes. I don't know. I had a weird childhood.
That's a good line. That's a good line. Yeah.
So that would have been fun, huh?
And are there any drum sets left to own? I mean, that's another question I have for you. You've probably owned, right, more or less every kit available, or not quite?
No. I get into moods where I think I have to have a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And then I sell them because I'm like, well, I don't really need that. This sounds just like this, or this sound. I'm starting. Well, actually, over the past couple of months, I've been getting rid of a lot of stuff because I'm trying to not have too many options. Kind of get bogged down when you have like, well, we got a WFL kick drum, we got a Ludwig, we got a Radio King, we got a Craviotto, we got a whatever. It's like, well, just how about something that just sounds really good, and maybe something else that sounds a little different that's really good. I'm just trying to keep it simple, so I can have some tools around, especially at my studio where I can just grab a drum and go, okay, this sounds really good like this. I'm gonna use it on this song. This will work. But in general, I've tried a few different kits out. Like there's been kits that have come into my possession where I've played them for like a year or two, or in the case of like when I first started doing sessions, I went nuts and just bought everything. And the person that's responsible for my gear problem is John Bryan. He's solely responsible. I have no control over my gear purchases.
Are you going to meetings now?
I'm going to Gear Anonymous. No, but he is such a tone freak and is such a genius with drum sounds that whenever I work with him, I'm like, I get my mind blown. He's just like, check this drum out and this drum and this. He has so many amazing things. I've never taken anything to a session with him because he has everything. Yeah. And so when I leave there, I'm like, God, I really need one of those Radio King whatevers or this Zildjian K Istanbul.
eBay and
I remember once we were doing this Dido record and he was obsessed with like 60s Japanese snare drums. Like those cheap ones that are... So I went on eBay and bought like 15 of them, and somehow I had like 15 of these. I was like, what do I got all these things for? I'm not going to use them. I kept one and sold the rest of them, or just gave them to friends. And
I think Aaron Sterling was saying he's using a kit he got through you, right?
Yeah, the Zimgar.
The U.S. Mercury.
No, the Mercury. That's what it is, the Mercury. I remember buying that kit. That was around the same time. I was like, I need those Luon shells.
Yeah.
And they do sound really good, but they don't sound that much different than like a WFL or I'm really on a kick right now of trying to make new things sound really good because I'm sick and tired of paying these ridiculous prices for vintage drums. And, they're not as bad as guitars. Guitars are stupid expensive, but, I mean, come on. There's great drum builders out there right now.
Right.
And really, when it comes right down to it, there are very few engineers that are going to mic your drums and take... what am I trying to say? There are very few engineers that'll mic your drums and pick up all those nuances and that tone that you are convinced that you're getting from that particular drum kit. There's very few guys, because most of the time, man, I've done so many records with I have my 50s 3-ply round badge Gretsch kit. I'm going to take it to the session because I want it to be that vibe. And then you get the record back and you're like, this sounds like a, I shall not say the name of the drum company, but some modern drum company that
could be Recording Customs.
It could be any of those things. It's like I could have played on anything and it would have, and it ended up sounding like this because they EQ'd the hell out of it, and the mixer probably laid a sample in with a snare, and I'm not trying to be negative about it, but
the
reality is that that's for modern pop records, and even with if you do indie records where they're just trying to get more out of the drums, they might, it's so easy for them to, nowadays, you can tweak shit, you can lay samples in, you can, if the drums aren't working with the other instruments.
Do people hear with their eyes, though? Is it that thing?
Yeah.
Is it like, oh yeah, cool, you got the nice, and then that's all good, and if it was something else,
I've done that before. I'll be playing on my whatever Craviato snare I just got that I think is amazing. I'll put it up and the producer will be like, so what snare are you playing? I'll be like, oh, I don't know, does it sound good? I'm like, oh, what is it? Oh, it's just this Craviato. Oh, okay, can you put up that Superphonic? I think that's maybe the vibe we need.
Yeah.
And man, I gotta tell you, with my studio, I spend hours, days just geeking out on drums because I want to convince myself somehow that it's not just the drum. There's so many factors involved. You know what I mean? It's the way you mic it, it's the mic, it's the drum head, the tuning, the room, the way the person hits the drum, the stick, the cymbal stand, for Christ's sakes, man. I had this experience where I had a ride cymbal on a real thick modern cymbal stand, double braced, and I put the same cymbal on an old Gretsch from the 60s, one of those really flimsy ones, and it sounded like a whole other cymbal. It sounded like a completely different instrument. And of course, when you use different sticks, right, it changes the tone of your cymbals.
So are you switching stands now sometimes?
Sometimes.
You go to that instead of a whole new cymbal?
Sometimes.
Interesting. And it's also, I like that idea though about, as I get that too, I understand that, it's just working with this drum and that drum and
you make it work.
Make it work.
I mean, how many times, I'm sure you've done it too, where you've ended up at a rehearsal space somewhere and you're just using the drum kit that's there, and it sounds fine. It might be some piece of shit. Or maybe you go to do a record somewhere and they can't bring any of the shit you usually have, and you're just using whatever's at the studio. You make it work. It's always going to sound like a kick drum, or at least in the general vicinity of a kick drum, if it looks like a kick drum.
Do you get caught up in I like this size, or not even?
It's so frustrating because with drums, the minute you say that, you get proven wrong. It's like, oh, 20s, man, that's the way to go. And then you go somewhere and somebody has a 26, and you're like, well, this sounds incredible. This is the way to go, 26. And then you try to take the same drum to a different room with a different engineer, different music, it doesn't work. Maybe the 26 only works in that particular room you're in on that day, with that engineer. It's so frustrating. which was a good argument for a while with my wife. You know, I could be like, well, I need to buy all these drums because, you know, this kick drum doesn't sound good in all the rooms. I got to get another kick drum. Sounds good in those other rooms because this.
This is my work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you keep drums at home?
No.
Nothing.
I just have them at my studio.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't play them in my apartment. We have a little apartment here, so. But yeah, I'm trying to make everything that's new work. That's my new goal. And you know, obviously there are some
Craviotto.
Yeah. And obviously there are some older things that just do that thing. It's like a Hofner bass compared to a P bass. It's like, well, you can't, you know, you might as well have a Hofner bass because it's going to do that thing. Nothing else does it, really.
But do you have Craviotto snares you can make sound like an acrolite and a superphonic and a black
Pretty close, yeah. I mean, close enough.
Mm-hmm. Who's going to know?
And the other thing is, well, you know, maybe it's time to evolve. At least in my world, like, okay, we've heard a superphonic and it's fantastic. An acrolite does the job. But maybe it's time for something else, you know? Maybe it's time for a different sound. We've heard these, how many thousands of records? Like if you go down to Amoeba Records, how many of those records have a damn superphonic on them? And it sounds incredible, right? But come on, there has to be something else that sounds incredible, or try something, just something a little different, or I don't know. I think I'm getting to that point in my career, in my life, where I'm trying to just do something just a little different, because at least tone-wise, you know, because it seems like everybody is doing the same exact thing. It's like, oh, you got to get your Ludwig kit from the 60s. Got to tape that shit down, make it sound like Ringo. Got to get your... It's like, well, why do you even have a Ludwig kit? Just get a Mercury kit from the 60s Japanese era, you know, and just put a bunch of tape on it. Make your toms go boom, boom, boom. You know, it could be any kit. Doesn't really matter. I mean, you can do that. It's funny, though, because you can't do that with the Craviotto drums. You can't. They're not so... You can't deaden them down like a Ringo sound.
You can't do that.
It's real. Well, you can, but it's not the same because they're solid shells, and they don't react like a ply kit.
Right.
It's a different instrument.
I've never really messed around with the Craviottos. It's did you approach them, or did they come to you? You approached them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kept seeing their drums in different shops when I was on tour.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what are these things? They're crazy sounding. They're definitely a sound that you just gotta... It took me a while to figure out even how to deal with putting heads on them, because they're solid shells. So all my life, you know, most drummers have plied drums, right? Like that's just what you grow up with, and you know how to tune them, and over time you figure out how to tune them. But then with a solid shell, it's like, oh shit, it's like a whole different animal. It's like a different instrument or something. It's a little more finicky. A little more finicky. You gotta, the sweet spot, you gotta tweak them. But you know, you'll get there, and once you get there, it's pretty amazing. I think it's super dynamic. That's the thing with those drums, is you can play them really soft, but then when you lay into them, they're just like, whoa! They just get so dynamic. They can be so loud and so soft and so... And they don't fold in on themselves. You know, like with certain drums, when you just beat the shit out of them, they kind of choke. Those things just stay...
They don't choke.
No, they just kind of open up almost. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm just a drummer. I'm just a simple caveman drummer.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just a caveman. Beautiful. Matt, man,
is that enough info?
Yeah, man. I was gonna say thank you for doing this, man. I'm glad we did this finally. Yeah.
So do you go through all that and edit it into something?
I'm probably gonna just release it as is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Hope I didn't say anything that would get me in trouble.
Well, Bob Dylan may not call you, but
yeah,
I think you'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, you, Matt.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I did that. What? Do it.